Right friends, welcome back to English comprehension and vocabulary. This is 32nd session as announced. This will be on International Women's Day. We celebrated International Women's Day on 8th March. In this connection, one good editorial was there in the Economic Times of 8th March, and on Monday we are going to deliberate on Now to Catch the Sun. This is about solar energy. So, this we are going to discuss on 13th March Monday, and by the by, best wishes to all of you because of Holi, and let us start this to make every single day Women's Day. This is first sentence is democracy remains the key to women's equality. In a nutshell, this article says about dedicating one day to the cause of women will not serve the purpose. There are several problems as far as women are concerned, and all of us should strive hard to remove all those things to bring women at par with men. So, gender parity is one of the important aspect which is required. So, to ensure gender parity, what needs to be done, that is spelled out in this article. Democracy remains the key to women's equality. Democracy, several times we discussed about democracy. Democracy is nothing but belief in freedom and equality among the people. So, all the people should have freedom and equality, and the government or power is held by elected representatives. So, one example is USA is one among the oldest democracies, and India is the largest democracy in the world. Then equality, equality means all the groups of people should enjoy similar position and same treatment, that is equality. The ideals of democracy involve economic equality and social equality. So, here equality means right of different groups of people to enjoy similar position and same treatment, but it is much far away in our country. So, let us look at the passage. International Women's Day serves us to remind us. Remind. All of you are familiar with remind. Remind means making someone think of something they have forgotten. One example I have given, one should remind me about the marriage function just a day in advance, as I may likely to forget because of hurly-burly of my daily course. Because of my busy life, I may forget about marriage. Please remind me one day in advance. So, remind means making someone think of something they have forgotten, and here International Women's Day serves us to remind us every year on March 8. It serves to remind us, lost as we tend to be. Normally, this issue is lost from our minds as we tend to be. So, please observe these commas, comma, lost, comma, as we tend to be in the hurly-burly of daily toil, hurly-burly of daily toil of a vital goal of equality that has not only not been achieved ever since it was recognized as a vital part of social emancipation, but appears as remote today as it was a decade ago. So, there is a social emancipation, or you can say gender parity is well accepted and the problem still persists, and the goal of achieving this social emancipation, it is remote today as it was a decade ago or 10 years ago. So, nothing much happened. The meaning of this paragraph is nothing happened during the past several years. March 8 will come. We will be reminded of International Women's Day, women's rights, gender parity, and after March 8th, on all other days, we forget about this issue in the hurly-burly of daily toil. What is the meaning of hurly-burly? Hurly-burly is busy or noisy situation is the literal meaning. Hurly-burly means our busy life, you can say. Daily we are working very hard, toil. Here another word is used, toil. Toil means extremely hard, incessantly. So, we are working very hard daily to lead our lives so as to ensure living. Most of us are working very hard. So, we are toiling day in and day out So, toil, I gave one classic example. In India, students prepare for competitive examinations by toiling hard throughout the night. Throughout night, people prepare for competitive examinations, toiling hard, that means working extremely hard. So, toil has got this meaning of extremely hard or incessantly. So, here hurly burly means you can say busy life. So, let us go back to the paragraph, let us understand it. International Women's Day serves to remind us on March 8 every year, otherwise it is lost as it tend to be in the hurly burly of daily toil. In our hard working daily, we are working hard and we are busy with our own lives, and this issue is lost from our minds and it is only reminded on March 8th. That is the meaning of first sentence. This International Women's Day serves us to remind us, lost as we tend to be in the hurly burly of daily toil, of a vital goal of equality that has not only been achieved. This equality or gender parity was not achieved, that is one aspect. Not only why he used, because he want to tell some other point, that is why he used not only. It was not achieved, but it also looks remote. Probably gender equality may not be achieved in the near future to come. It also looks remote and the same status as it looked 10 years ago. Right? That is why he used not only, not been achieved ever since it was recognized as a vital part of social emancipation, but appears as remote today as it was a decade ago. So, nothing happened, literally speaking. So, the things stand as it is, only we are being reminded on International Women's Day there is a problem and gender parity is required. So, this vital goal of equality, vital means extremely important, necessary for success. Gender parity is very much essential for fruitful realization of democracy. So, this is vital as far as democracy in our country is concerned. So, vital means extremely important. I gave two examples. Vitamins and minerals are vital for healthy living. You may take lot of food, but without vitamins and minerals, we may fall into some diseases. So, that is why vitamins and minerals are vital for healthy living. And another example is, we are talking about life on Mars, and their liquid water is vital for human survival. People are looking at whether the availability of liquid water is there or not, humans can survive there or not. So, that is vital for human survival. You can say the meaning of vital is extremely important, necessary for success and necessary for continued existence of something. So, air and water is vital for our survival on this earth. So, vital. And here please get back to the passage. It is the vital goal of equality. Basically, it is vital for democracy, and it was not achieved till date, and it is not looking to be achieved even remotely also. So, what is emancipation? This word has got good meaning, emancipation. Emancipation is basically the process of being set free from legal, social or political restrictions. Emancipation of millions of people from below poverty line is the need of the hour. Basically, that is a challenge to our democracy also. So, here the real challenge for Indian democracy is the emancipation of millions of people from below poverty line, to set them free from legal, social, political restrictions. So, that is the need of the hour. They should not have any restrictions. They should be brought out not only economically, but also from other perspectives like legal perspective, social perspective. They should have social dignity in society. So, emancipation has got that meaning. So, emancipation, why he is used is, in day to day life, women are being suppressed. Women are not being given wages at par with the men, and women are relegated to the daily course in our houses. They are into menial jobs. Because of all these reasons, he used this word, emancipation of women is the need of the hour. Then remote. Remote has got two meanings. One is remote areas. Several villages in our country are in remote areas. So, the living conditions in remote parts of the country are the real cause of concern for the rural, as well as they are devoid of basic education and health facilities. Then remote. Remote means which looks distant in time. So, here in the passage it is used to indicate it is looking distant in time. So, achieving gender parity appears to be a remote possibility in our country. So, here please look at the passage. Here it was recognized as a vital part of social emancipation. I just now told you what is the meaning of emancipation, but appears as remote today as it was a decade ago. The meaning of remote is it is distant possibility, not in the near future. Right. So, gender parity looks a distant possibility, that is the meaning of remote. Then gender equality should not be the concern of women alone, it should be the concern of but all the citizens who want to live in a democratic polity and equitable society. This is the goal of not only women, but entire people, entire fraternity as a whole in democratic polity. Democratic polity looks at equality of rights, equality of people, and for equitable society, this gender parity or gender equality is the need of the hour. Gender equality means the state in which access to rights or opportunities is unaffected by gender. If she is girl, she cannot take up particular job, that is not gender equality in our country. Gender equality or gender discrimination is there. It starts from feticide itself, killing the baby in the womb itself, and now unfortunately if you look at a region like Karnal in Haryana, if you look at Karnal district, the sex ratio, that is child sex ratio, is around 750. The national average is around 918, and in Karnal in Haryana the sex ratio is 750 or so. It shows lot more needs to be done as far as gender equality is concerned. So, gender equality means this is state in which rights or opportunities are unaffected by gender. So, let us go back to the passage. This is sure this cannot be achieved by dedicating one day to the cause. This cannot be achieved by dedicating one day to the cause. Dedicate meaning is devote time or effort to a particular task is dedication. All of you are familiar with Mother Teresa, APJ Abdul Kalam, that is a dedication. So, if you want to understand the meaning of dedication, please remember Mother Teresa and APJ Abdul Kalam. So, if you are dedicating only one day to the cause with public meetings and giving awards, that will not serve the purpose. But that one day he is giving something else, but that one day should serve to re-examine the work agenda, towards equality and rededicate every organization to this goal. In India, the next step towards gender justice varies. So, what is exactly gender justice? It varies from place to place, region to region, state to state. That is what he is explaining now. Depending on one's location, in some parts it is ending female feticide and getting girls into school. Just now I talked about Karnal region of Haryana, where this sex ratio is quite low. So, in some parts it is ending female feticide and getting girls into school. So, here feticide. So, what is the meaning of feticide? Feticide means the crime of killing a baby that has not yet been born. The preference for sons is still strong in India. That is why female feticide is still taking place in several parts of the country. So, here if you look at some states, it is ending female feticide. Next, in some circles, in some areas, it is progressing to paternity leave. So, in some areas the requirement is to have paternity leave, so that the newborn baby can be looked after equally by both the parents. So, that is gender equality. Paternity leave means this is father taking off work at the birth or adoption of a child is paternity leave, taking off some time to spend with the newly born by the father is paternity leave, by the mother is maternity leave. So, yesterday Maternity Benefit Act was passed by Lok Sabha, and as per that now the mother will have leave of 26 weeks instead of 12 weeks. In government or formal sector enterprises, at present the women are eligible up to 12 weeks of leave when they are going to give birth to a child, and now that is increased to 26 weeks, and India is the third country, right, to have this much of maternity leave, 26 weeks. Probably Canada and some other country has got more than this. So, India is the third country. So, let us come back to our discussion. So, here in some circles it is progressing to paternity leave. In some regions it is ending. Bias rooted in personal law. So, probably he is talking about the personal law in one particular religion. So, here bias rooted in personal law. Bias means that is prejudice. See, the bias is action of supporting or opposing a person in unfair way. Unfair way, if you are taking any decision without any rational basis, then it is bias. Here in our country, some of the decisions of the government will have caste or religious bias, right. Then the next word is root. Root has got several meanings. This all of you are familiar. The other meaning is basic cause or origin of something is known as root. I gave two examples. Money is the root cause of all the evils. At the same time, jealousy is one of the root causes for not making much progress in several fields in our country after independence. So, jealousy is the main reason for not progressing as expected in our country. So, root has got these many meanings. So, the bias is rooted in personal laws. In personal laws of some religions, the bias is rooted. In others, it is bringing tradition and practice in line with reformed laws. Some religions may have already reformed laws. Some religions have already reformed laws, but there is some tradition. As per tradition, in some regions, though there are reformed laws, women are not allowed to do certain things. So, he is talking about various faiths in our country. In one particular faith, the laws basically women are bias rooted in personal law. Bias against women is basically inbuilt in personal law, and he is talking about another faith. In another faith, what happened? Laws are reformed, but traditionally they are not allowed to do certain things. Though laws are reformed, but there is a tradition which is coming in the way of gender parity in some of the religions. So, he is touching upon all the faiths in our country in this article. So, tradition means it is basically inbuilt in the society a belief or a principle to act in a specific way, that is a tradition. So, India has got a long tradition of religious beliefs, right. In places like Nagaland, if you look at Nagaland, he is talking about all the aspects with regard to discrimination against women. Customary law precludes women from political leadership. All of you are familiar with the recent incident of Nagaland. In Nagaland, as per, of course, in any state, as per Article 243T, as per Article 243T, 33% of seats are to be reserved for women in panchayat or municipal, 33% of the seats are to be reserved for women in municipal bodies. Similarly, in panchayats also 33% seats are reserved for women, but in Nagaland what happened? Elections could not be held because they felt that customary law of Nagaland is against women entering the elected institutions. So, customary law, he is talking about Naga customary law and procedure. So, Naga customary law and procedure is against women, and it is incidental to know that Nagaland Assembly has got no women representative for the past 50 years or so. And they are not allowing even the municipal elections with 33% reservation, which is mandatory as per the constitution. So, he is talking about Nagaland customary law precludes women from political leadership, prevents women from political leadership. Preclude means preventing someone from doing something. So, here customary law of Nagaland precludes women or prevents women from political leadership. So, I gave one example, this is another example. It has been raining since yesterday, but that does not preclude the possibility that the skies will be clear by this evening. Right. So, here customary laws of Nagaland are precluding women from political leadership. That means, customary law of Nagaland is preventing women from political leadership, putting it at odds with the basic spirit of the constitution. Constitution assumes equality for all the people, but this customary law of Nagaland is not allowing women to enter the municipal bodies. So, it is at odds with the basic spirit of the constitution. What is the meaning of at odds? It is at variance, or you can say it is contrasting. You see, it is in conflict or at variance with the constitution. So, at odds means in conflict or at variance, then only you have to use at odds. Please look at this example, it will be clear to you. The employee is quite arrogant and his behavior is at odds with the interests of the company. So, it is in conflict or at variance with the interests of the company. Look at the next paragraph. Unlike in countries with a relatively more even spread of social development, in India, he is comparing with other countries. Unlike in countries with a relatively more even spread of local social development, not like in countries, in India something different. In some countries, there is relatively more even spread of social development, but in India, the relative liberation of working women, especially those in the organized sector, from the drudgery of unpaid, unrecognized domestic work, comes at the expense of less fortunate women who are still redeemed from abject poverty by the menial jobs they perform at other people's homes. The meaning is, I will explain you simply. I will take two persons, one is Radhika and other one is Anusha. Let us assume these two persons. Radhika has got some job in TCS and now she is not doing domestic works and she came out of domestic unpaid drudgery. So, normally before getting the job, Radhika used to do all the works in the home, washing clothes, then washing utensils, all those things, and she is from poor background. If she does not get job, then she has to do all these things, and now she got the job. So, because of that, she came out of that drudgery because she is working in some multinational company. So, she came out of this drudgery, but who is working in her house? In her house, these menial jobs like washing the clothes, like washing the utensils, like cleaning the floor, these are all known as menial jobs, MENIAL, menial jobs, or you can say the persons whoever are doing these works are under a drudgery. DRUDGERY. Now, who is doing those jobs in her house? In her house, some other unfortunate lady is doing these jobs. So, the meaning of this paragraph is some ladies, some women came out of this drudgery or menial jobs because of some job, but in her house these works are done by some unfortunate women who are under abject poverty and they are redeemed from abject poverty by these type of menial jobs, right. So, this is the meaning of this paragraph. The improvement or emancipation of certain women comes at the cost of another woman. Woman versus woman, this paragraph, please understand carefully. So, here meaning is relative. Relative means it is considered in relation or proportion to something else. This is not absolute. Relative means people are talking about development between two states, it is relative. If people are talking about development between Odisha and Chhattisgarh, then it is relatively they are comparing. Relative means in comparison to some other state or some other area. So, here developed countries are somewhat countries with social development, but in India what happened? The relative liberation of working women, especially those in the organized sector, as I have already told you TCS example, from the drudgery of unpaid, unrecognized domestic work, from the drudgery. What is the meaning of drudgery? Drudgery means hard, menial or dull work. Hard, menial works like washing clothes, like washing utensils, and they are normally less paid, it is repetitive, dull work, less social status. So, all these things are associated with the drudgery, and at the same time here menial jobs also you have to see, and here drudgery means this hard, menial or dull work. Please go back to the passage. Here these women who got job in organized sector are relieved from drudgery of unpaid, unrecognized domestic work, but that comes at the expense of less fortunate women who are still redeemed from abject poverty, who are still redeemed from abject poverty. Redeem means compensate for something, redeemed from abject poverty. So, abject poverty means, abject means it is basically something bad experience up to the maximum degree. If someone says abject poverty, the poverty to the maximum degree is abject poverty. And what is meant by poverty? Poverty means hunger and lack of shelter, and where parents are not able to send their children to school, where sick people are not able to afford medical treatment, that is poverty. In our country 20% of the people are below poverty line. So, abject poverty means poverty to the extreme degree, and the people whoever are in abject poverty are redeemed. That means they came out of this problem through menial jobs. Menial jobs means they do not require skill and low in social strata and normally paid less. So, these are menial jobs, and several students in America take up menial jobs like cleaning the table, cleaning the floor in restaurants to help see them through the university education. So, here the social status payment that varies from country to country. Whoever is cleaning the table in a restaurant may not degrade his status in America, whereas it is viewed as low paid and at the same time low in social status in our country. So, these are all menial jobs, and drudgery means this type of jobs is basically known as drudgery, right. But all women, here something else he is talking about, all women live under the shadow of sexual violence in India. Shadow has got two meanings. One meaning is this, all of you are familiar. The second one is with reference to oppressiveness or sadness. Shadow is used under two contexts. One is literal meaning of shadow is this. The second one is basically with reference to sadness, gloom, oppressiveness, and you see the example, several women live under the shadow of sexual violence in India. So, here shadow of sexual violence, whether actresses, call center executives working late in the office or returning home at dusk, and these are under threat, under shadow of sexual violence. What is meant by dusk? You should have clear differentiation between dawn and dusk. Dawn means first appearance of light in the sky before sunrise. Before sunrise, the first appearance of light is dawn. Dusk means the darker stage of twilight, that means after the sun has gone below the horizon, then also you will have light, and that light is probably due to reflection from the atmosphere, and here that darker stage of that twilight is known as dusk. All of you are familiar with dawn and dusk, and when women are coming home at dusk, they are under the shadow of sexual violence. Rural women stepping out to relieve themselves when they are going to attend natural calls. When women are going to attend natural calls, they are under the shadow of sexual violence, or just about any woman deemed as per the norms of patriarchal tradition. As per the patriarchal tradition, if some woman is beyond those codes in our country, patriarchal. What is the meaning of patriarchal? Patriarchal means the society or government controlled by men is patriarchal. India is basically a patriarchal society. Now we are trying to establish gender equality, and here patriarchal means society controlled by men, and here because it is patriarchal society, some codes are imposed, and those who are transgressing the codes, or you can say traditionally certain rules are imposed, and when somebody is transgressing their codes, let us take for example several colleges in our country, sorry not several colleges, some colleges in our country recently banned wearing of jeans by girls. So these type of things are establishing codes in the patriarchal society. So some traditional codes are implemented, and if someone is transgressing the codes, then they are subjected to various violence, right. So here all women are under the shadow of sexual violence as per the norms of patriarchal tradition, to be transgressing the codes of propriety in terms of dress, place, time, or the gender of her companion. So here also women are coming under threat or under the shadow of violence when the rules and regulations or traditions set up by patriarchal society are transgressed in terms of propriety. Propriety means we devised certain things, and if women are transgressing them, they are also coming under the shadow of violence. So transgress means go beyond the limits of whatever is accepted by the society. So society limited certain aspects for women, and if women are transgressing these societal norms, they are coming under threat. Then propriety is conformity or conventionally accepted standards. So the crux of the matter is patriarchal society dominated by men established certain rules and regulations, and if women transgress or if women go beyond this propriety, propriety means conventionally accepted standards, if women go beyond this propriety or beyond these conventionally accepted norms, if women transgress these conventionally accepted standards, then they are also under threat, right. So people are questioning about their companion also, right. Yes, there are horrid acid attacks by spurned men. There are acid attacks, horrid, horror, horror means basically shock and intense feeling of fear. There are horrid acid attacks by the spurned men. Spurned, what is the meaning of spurn? S-P-U-R-N-E-D. Spurned means, spurn means to refuse to accept something because that person is not worth, right. If a girl refuses a boy's advances, then that spurned man, because that boy is rejected by the girl, then that boy is resorting to acid attack. So spurned men means the men who were rejected by the girls, they are resorting to this acid attacks. So let us go back to the paragraph. Yes, there are horrid acid attacks by spurned men, but there are also women who increasingly break the glass ceiling to fight back against sexual harassment at workplace. But there are some women who increasingly break the glass ceiling. Glass ceiling, all of you are familiar with this. Glass ceiling means this is unacknowledged barrier. Glass ceiling means unacknowledged barrier. This is not let down as per the rules, but conventionally it is unacknowledged barrier. And before Kiran Bedi joined police service, probably there were no women in IPS. So, Kiran Bedi is the quintessential example of removing glass ceiling. So, unacknowledged barrier prior to that was women are not fit for IPS, but Kiran Bedi broke that glass ceiling or removed that glass ceiling. So, glass ceiling is, please understand this, this is unacknowledged barrier. Right? Several women are coming out to complain against or to fight back against sexual harassment. Stronger democracy is what all women need along with men. Finally, stronger democracy is what all women need along with men. So, this is for today. Several words we learned from this, and the final take on this is, in fact, this gender parity is quite far away, it looks remote, and all of us to strive for achieving gender parity or gender equality. And it is not the case when you look at it only on March 8th, all of us should strive for achieving gender parity, right. So, on Monday we will discuss about solar energy, and this is now to catch the sun. So, this article appeared in the Economic Times on 7th March. We are going to deliberate on 13th March Monday, and once again happy Holi for all of you. Have a nice day. Join for weekend modules. They will be uploaded tomorrow, and next live session will be on Monday 13th March. Have a nice day. Thank you.